Howdy, everybody. How's it going? My name is Andrew. I'm the head of marketing here at Dwarven Forge. Thank you so much for joining us for this special interview session. I named it something. What do we call it? Tabletop and touchdowns? I don't know.
I
It
think that's
sounded funny at
exactly
the
it. Yeah.
time. Yeah. But we're very excited to have y'all here. We've got a great group of athletes here who also just love some really fun, nerdy stuff. And we're going to get into hopefully all of it. But let's go ahead and go around the horn and let's introduce everybody. I'm going to go in order of who I see on the stream. So, Travis Frederick, we have you here, former center for the Dallas Cowboys. Travis, how about you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Travis Frederick. I am the former center of the Dallas Cowboys. I got the chance to play in Dallas for 7 years, and I retired in 2020 and moved over full time to my new job, where I'm the co-founder and chief technology officer at Demiplane, which is an online tabletop role-playing platform and tool set. We have a lot of cool things going on, and I love playing these games. I've been doing it for a long time, and it was always great to be able to play during the season and all of that to stay connected to my friends. So really looking forward to tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, man. And we'll go on to the next fantastic gentleman joining us. And there's a lot you can say about him, but I think the fairest thing to say is there's a 100% chance that he is living rent-free in your favorite quarterback's head. Myles Garrett is with us tonight. What's going on, man?
Doing great. My name's Myles Garrett, fifth end for the Cleveland Browns, one of the heads of Water Boys. It's an organization for bringing water to second world countries and countries that are impoverished and communities all around the world. So it's not just in Africa where we've been known to reside. It's also in America, U.S., right around the corner. So I love playing tabletop games. Got really into it with the next man we're going to introduce, but I'm just a gamer and a nerd at heart. Awesome.
Yeah, man, can't wait to talk about all of it. I've already roped Myles into picking the anime series that I will watch since I don't watch any anime. We'll talk about that later. So the burden is on him to pick my fandom for this particular area of nerdiness. But final guest today, a good friend of mine, Johnny Stanton. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me on. I'm Johnny, fullback for the Cleveland Browns. I don't have any cool organizations or companies that that have attached to me, but hopefully we'll get there at some point. But happy to be here.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of you for being willing to come and join us. We've been having, as y'all watching know or maybe don't know, we've been doing a fantastic series of interviews here on Dwarven Forge Live on Twitch during our Kickstarter for Reliquaries, which are beautiful, just gorgeous places to display and store your dice. The link is going to be in chat. Go check it out. We're on Kickstarter right now for another week, so if you want some badass places to show off your dice, if you just want to flex on people at the table when people are like pulling their little bags out and just like dumping their dice around like they mean nothing, and you want to whip out a glowing eldritch pedestal of tentacles and horror and put your die on that, good, you should do that. You should try that, and you can do that with Reliquary. So go check that out. We'll be talking about that in a bit. But there's so much to get into. There's so much football to talk about. I'm a huge football fan. There's so much like tabletop gaming to talk about, and so we're just going to kind of freeform it. I'm going to throw stuff at everybody. We're going to see where it goes. We'll start with the softball question, which is like what is like the first like nerdy thing you really got into? And I'm going to throw that Johnny to you first. Whether it was gaming or shows you watched or comics, like what's kind of the first nerdy thing you remember falling in love with?
I guess specifically the first nerdy thing that I got involved with was comic books. I think it was somewhere around my freshman year of college. I started getting really into it just because I wanted something to do like that. I felt like was pretty cool, and that really filled that void for me. A couple years later is when I got into D&D, and I haven't really looked back ever since.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was everything all at once. It was Star Wars movies, it was Lord of the Rings books, and then I didn't get into D&D until very recently. And I know like someone like Travis, you've been playing for a long time, D&D. What was your first nerdy thing that you got into, Trav, like D&D or otherwise?
My first nerdy thing, when I was a kid, I was always big into Star Wars. I had a friend across the street whose mom would actually let us watch Star Wars at his house because I could never do that at my house when I was young. But so we got to watch Star Wars, and then that translated into when he bought his first copy of the D20 Star Wars book, and we started playing the D20 tabletop role-playing game Star Wars, and we got to like inject ourselves into the Star Wars universe, which was pretty awesome. So that was my first entry into tabletop role-playing games too, was being able to do that in Star Wars. And since obviously have transitioned into some other ones as well.
That's awesome, man. And you and I have even had the chance to play some Star Wars role playing stuff together too.
Yes, we have.
So we've got to share that kind of that goofy fun. And Myles, what was the first thing for you, man?
Man, it kind of all happened all at once. I had kind of a rounded childhood. So, I mean, I remember playing Pokemon on my Game Boy Color. I remember playing Yu-Gi-Oh with the deck. I had a friend across the street we play all the time, and we played with his cousins as well when they came. I remember watching the show Pokemon, reading the Harry Potter books, watching Lord of the Rings. So I kind of had a little bit of it all.
That's awesome. The question obviously we have to immediately ask then is, what was your starter Pokemon?
I started Pokemon, and I think I had blue because my sister wanted red because she wanted Charizard, and it was not Spikes. I think I took Blastoise. I don't regret it.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
That's the correct answer. So way to go. And some of you kind of alluded to this already, but obviously Dwarven Forge is a company that makes like D&D, or not even D&D, tabletop products. Play Pathfinder, or some people just love to build because we make really cool shit and you like to play with it. But we make stuff that a lot of people use in tabletop. And so Travis, you mentioned that you kind of got into tabletop early. Like, what's your earliest like tabletop gaming memory? Was it that Star Wars game, or do you have something that stands out like, oh, that was the moment I knew that I loved this game?
It was definitely that early Star Wars. I remember we used to go out. My parents had like a little camper in the backyard. So they'd let us go out there. We'd spend the night out there. We'd just stay up all night, rolling the dice and putting ourselves in that universe. And I just remember being so fascinated by the chance to like live in my mind in the same places, Han Solo and Luke Skywalker, even though like we never interacted with them at all. There was so many different things as a young kid that I was able to try for the first time because of these games. Like, you get a chance to pretend to be a computer hacker, or you can go and fire a blaster pistol, and you just have never been able to, you can't imagine doing those things until all of a sudden there is an impact on the other side of the die, when like something's going to happen no matter what. And it kind of taught me early on about, the consequences of your actions. Like, every choice has consequences, good or bad. And I never really thought about it that way when I was younger, but as you get older and look back, it was a really interesting like transition into decision making.
That makes total sense. Yeah. Johnny, how about you? We've talked before, but for the sake of the viewers at home, what was it for you that kind of hooked you on D&D?
I remember watching, there's a great YouTube channel on YouTube. It's called Corridor Digital. I think they changed their name to Corridor since then. And they do awesome VFX videos. They had a series where they played Dungeons and Dragons with a friend. And I think that was really my first introduction to what it actually was, because I think for the most part, it was kind of just like, you kind of group D&D and LARPing into like all the extreme nerdy stuff into one side of the, it's like, oh, I'll never, do that. And yeah, it was, I remember watching, I'm like, oh, this is like really cool. And I took all that in as I could. Like, that was my first introduction to what actual D&D was. So, I was already a regular at the comic book shop, and I thought, they probably know more about, I didn't even know that, like, this place hosted D&D, but I just thought like, oh, they probably know more about D&D than I do. So I remember asking one of the people at the cash register over there, and they said, yeah, there's a group that just recently started. They take on new players. So if you want to join, come on Sunday. They play every other Sunday. So that was my first game of D&D for, we ended up playing there for, I think, almost a year, because I ended up graduating before I, got too far along. Man, it was super fun. It got me to the next game I played. I decided to DM because, it was like, that was kind of my introduction to actually introducing people into D&D as well. So ever since then, it's really taken off for me, and I've, kind of dove headfirst into the hobby.
Someone in chat was asking if any of these guys have their own Dwarven Forge collection. I don't think so yet, but I'm perfectly willing to make that a reality for people. It's funny that you mentioned like how we kind of like put like LARPing and D&D and stuff like that like in the far end of like, okay, I like nerdy things, but that's like really far. Because even for me, someone who grew up like unashamedly nerdy, like I didn't play D&D until a few years ago. and we had to talk our friend group into it, and we literally would call it football. We, like because he like didn't want to tell his friends what he would be doing on the weekend when he was like DMing games. He was like, no, we're playing football, and for like a year before he was willing to say like, no, we play D&D. So it doesn't matter, what your background is. I think there's for many people that degree of like, oh, is this gonna be weird? Are people gonna make fun of me? Myles, you mentioned this at the top, but it sounded like you kind of got into tabletop gaming through Johnny. Is that correct?
I did, and I think the thing that made me open to it, because I never really, I like playing like board games, but I never really thought about playing D&D until watching Stranger Things. Ended up being like one of my favorite shows of all time. And I saw it, I
Hell
was
yeah.
like, I know it's a child's game, or at least what I saw, it looked like a child's game. But like, I mean, use your imagination, and like to make it fun. And so he kind of came up to me with the idea. I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot.
Well, yeah, you're wearing the Stranger Things shirt when I asked you. I'm like, do you want to like try playing the game like that they played in the show? And you're like, sure, let's try it.
That's like such a dealer move. Like you like spot like someone who might like, oh, he might be in it. Hey, the first hit's free.
I'm always looking for a mark.
Yeah. What'd you think when you played your first game? Like, were you really hesitant going into it, or like kind of what was your mindset playing that first game?
I didn't know how to feel. Like I never like role played. No, I played role playing games like Skyrim and Elder Scrolls, but I never really done anything like myself. And I saw like how like into it Johnny was. Like he was fully in character with each character. I was like, well, then I could start to like let myself go a little bit and get into character a little more. And so that's what makes it more fun when everyone's okay with breaking that kind of like boundary and get into it.
Yeah, totally. I think I talk with a lot of people who kind of describe their first experience like that. Like, you're very much defined, I think, by who runs your game for the first time, because they very much show you like, hey, this is what you can do. This is what this game could be. And if you got someone like Johnny who's like doing voices and has characters and is like being intense in there, you're like, oh, cool, I can show up too. I can play this game too, and we can tell a cool story together.
Totally agree.
Speaking of which, Johnny shared a picture just the other day of y'all's group, which is you and Johnny as a DM, and Wyatt, one of your teammates, is one of the players, and a couple other folk. And people lost their shit over it because it turns out there's a big crossover between football fans and D&D fans, because surprise everyone, sports is really nerdy. Madden is a role-playing game now. I think they've just fully accepted it. Everything is numerical statistics and upgrading abilities and feats. Like you're just playing D&D with football. But is that your first character that you're playing in that campaign? I think it's Alucard.
So second, yeah, I
Did
had
Johnny kill the first one?
Oh no.
he didn't have to. I was kind of feeling another character. Well, I was like recently I watched like the Castlevania series, and well, I hadn't played Castlevania as a kid, but like watching it, I made me want to play the games. So I ended up going back and playing like Rondo of Blood and a couple others, and I was like, I really enjoyed the character of Alucard. So I was like, I kind of want to do something similar. So I just like kind of had to deal with Johnny and kind of like sacrifice my character to get Alucard.
I gave him the cue to go in and kind of do the righteous self-sacrifice to help the party get away.
What would suck is if the moment didn't lean for that at all. If you were like, I'll go and fight the dragon, and they're like, the dragon has 1 hit point. It's okay. He's like, no, let me take on the dragon. And you go and die just so you can get your character out of the way.
Yeah, the group didn't want to let him do it.
Completely disadvantaged.
That's so funny. What do you think? Well, actually, let me throw this at Travis, man. What has been your most memorable character? Do you typically play or do you DM, or a bit of both?
I normally play. I haven't done a lot of DMing. It's something that I'd like to get into in the future, but I love taking like the smallest bit of inspiration and then flushing it all the way to the end and rolling it at like this extreme ends of the spectrum. And so I'll usually roll abilities first if I'm not in like a stream where you have to do the point buy, but like I'll buy one and immediately take the worst one and figure out what can I do with this and where can I go and like how can this define my character, and then I just go from there. And I try to make fairly deep backstory that I can build the character around. So I kind of start with the story before I build out the statistics. And I just love trying to fit into a game. I often also will ask like the rest of the party, whatever they're doing, if party comp is important. I'm always in to fill out whatever character it is. I like the variety and the spice of life. So, I played a lot of different characters. I think that my favorites have been casters, but I also love a good like a hybrid caster. I've yet to play a warlock, and I'm pretty excited to do that at some point because I love the like mechanic of having that sponsor, that patron, and like exploring the relationship between your PC and that patron. So
Until you want to
that's
cast more
something
than 3 spells in a day.
well, yeah, but you can always just hit them with an Eldritch Blast, perhaps.
You can literally always do that.
Blast.
Yeah.
And you always have to say it with the Travis Willingham, deep accent as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Just
exist
prime
without
that.
it. Yeah.
100%. Did you when you were on the Cowboys, did you have a game with teammates?
I never played with teammates while I was on the Cowboys. These guys, I'm sure, can attest to it. There's this weird stigma. People always like think it's weird that football players would do this, or that generally anybody. Nobody talks about it. It's like you said, your friend used to call it football because he wasn't interested in talking about it in the public. And so there are definitely more people out there in the NFL and in public in general that play these games. And I had a hard time pulling that out of people without like going around. Johnny hit it right on the head, like finding somebody that had a Stranger Things shirt on to go and do that. But I do know since I've left, there is a running game that happens. So I missed out. I'm considering going back just so that I can play the game. Not interested in playing football anymore, but if I can play D&D with them, we'll see that. So yeah. I didn't, but I was playing once a week at least with some friends from home. For us, it was a way to stay connected. Some of them were home, some of them were in different places, and it was just a nice way. These guys will tell you that the grind of the football season is real, and you're constantly in the facility working out and watching film, and you're always focused on one thing. So to be able to take a couple hours and just decompress and like go somewhere else, it was a great way for me to like keep my emotional state in a good place. So it was always super helpful for me.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's interesting that you say, that stigma was definitely still there, because I feel like at least as a viewer, I'm obviously not in a locker room. I was a sports photographer. I would be in locker rooms occasionally, but not as any sort of participant of anything. But it feels like the public stigma or awareness is that, especially with shows like Hard Knocks, because I feel like every time there's like a Hard Knocks season, there's always some guy talking about anime, or they're talking about some movie they're watching. Like it seems like some of that maybe is drifting away. And so I'm curious, like Johnny and Myles, I think y'all both came into the league around the same time, right? Like 2017, Johnny, I don't know when your rookie year was. Recently is what I'm saying. Do you feel like that same stigma around quote unquote like nerdy stuff is still as present in the locker room?
As far as my experience has gone, it's not like there's so many things to talk about that usually role playing doesn't show up. When I decided to take a chance asking Myles if he wanted to do it. Obviously, I'm like 1 for 1 right now. And then we obviously got Myles Teller, and last year we had Kendall Lamb, who is now in the Titans. He was kind of the third teammate who was part of the group. And I went pretty well with those guys, so maybe I should try it out more. I know that Joel Batonio, our guard, who just signed an awesome deal, has also expressed interest, but he has his family, and has said that he doesn't think he'd have the time for it. But maybe we can get Joel into a game too. But as far as hate, or like hate's a strong word, but kind of getting kind of ridicule for it. I'm not really getting it too much. Sometimes I'll get it on Twitter, but it's like I get way more love for liking D&D than anything else on Twitter.
Myles, how about you? Like, I know that like I said, the tweet with the picture of your group went out, and people, were losing their minds. How's it been for you as an anime fan, as just a gaming fan? Like, is that pretty like ubiquitous in the locker room, or is there still some like resistance to like guys having hobbies that they enjoy?
I think it's kind of just like those things becoming a little bit more mainstream. Like anime used to be kind of, before the nerdy kids sit in the bag, talk to them, they act different. but then like you realize like those shows are pretty cool. And, like you didn't want to like say that when you were like a kid, and like, you wanted to be like a part of this group, and like, you didn't want to be a part of that group. So it was kind of like you have to like break that barrier, and so you have to find the in between, and people kind of like started to understand like this, it doesn't matter like what I like, if it's good enough, it's good enough for that group or like the group I'm in. So I think the same things with gaming, with anime, with comics. I think and that's why Johnny's on the comics, and he's a football player. I'm in the comics. I'm in anime. I'm a football player. So all this stuff like we all care about. We all grew up with. It's just a matter of like talking about it and showing that interest. And I think like now that social media has gotten real big, we can also like express ourselves a little bit more, and it's not as frowned upon. Like you have a lot of people who could like, I guess, alter your opinion back in the day, but now you can get on social media and just say whatever you want, and no one can say anything to you because it's coming directly from you, and you don't have to go through any checks and balances. As far as tabletop games, I don't know if it'll like get bigger quite as quickly, just because it's been around for so long, and there's nothing like pushing that surge. Now, Tom Brady came on and said, "I play D&D on the weekends." You might see a sudden surge of like business coming away.
You could be
What
that guy.
class would Tom Brady play? A lich, probably just an undead, never aging. Yeah,
Never
that
aging figure that's just there, just still winning, won't go away.
just hitting Gronk 11 yards out, just forever and ever and ever. That's awesome. Switching kind of over to football, because between all of us here, we have 7, all pro, between the 4 of us, roughly, I think.
You got the same amount as I do, Andrew.
Yeah, me and Johnny, we have the exact same amount of Pro Bowl and all pro appearances. I'm curious. I always wonder, because I grew up playing sports. I picked basketball at a very early age, and eventually made the decision, not to like follow that into college, because it turns out when you're a 5'10" white guy, like there are not a lot of scholarship opportunities. But I am curious, like at what point do you realize, what, I can go pro, or I have an opportunity here. This could be, or maybe it's just college. Like I could do more than Pop Warner, than junior high, than high school. Is it just at every level you're at, you're like, okay, I can probably go to the next level? Or did any of you have that moment like early on where you're like, no, this is what I can do. I know that I'm good enough. I'm killing everybody around me. I should just keep going.
Travis, you want to go first?
Yeah, my experience was a little bit odd. I went to like a small high school in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin's not known for football players. So you might get like maybe 61 athletes out of the whole state, where in some other places in the country you'll get 25 in the same school. So it's a little bit different, and so it was hard to get my name out there and things like that. So honestly, my goal was to get a scholarship to help pay for my education. I never expected to be able to do anything past that, and then I ended up getting a scholarship at Wisconsin and getting to play there. And I had no intention of playing in the NFL. I didn't even think that was a dream that could exist. And then somebody got hurt, and I ended up playing my true freshman year. And that person came back, and we were trying to decide how should we handle this. So I registered my sophomore year so that I would have an extra year, because we were going to compete and whatnot. And after that year, 3 of the 5 offensive linemen, including one of the backups, so I guess 3 of 6, got drafted. One in the first round, one in the third round, and our backup got drafted in the 7th round. And I had already beat one of those people out for position, and almost, the second one you could argue I would have been with, and I was just a sophomore. So that was the first moment that I had any idea that I could potentially play in the NFL, and then I just kept going and hoping that it would get better and better, and ended up working out pretty well, and got a chance to play for the Cowboys.
Johnny, how about you?
Coming out of a little bit different situation than Travis, I actually had a pretty big high school, and like a good amount of people who came before me who had success. Clay Thompson went to Santa Margarita Catholic. Carson Palmer went to Santa Margarita. So there were definitely people to look up to in terms of direct lineage almost. So I had the offers coming out of school. Those who know me know I played quarterback throughout high school and college. So I had those offers coming out of school to be able to play at a couple different, big time schools. And I ended up choosing Nebraska. And, quarterback college careers can go anywhere, like at any moment, because there's only one guy who can play. So when you don't get that chance, and the guy ahead of you might have been a starter for since his freshman year, and he's like 1 year ahead of you, that's not the recipe for success. So I decided to transfer. I went to community college, Saddleback Community College for a season. I got recruited to UNLV. So that was my chance to be able to play again. I knew I was going to have 2 more years with a 5th year, redshirt senior season. And my redshirt junior year, that first year at UNLV, I ended up tearing my knee. My second year, I didn't end up winning the starting quarterback job. So then I talked to my coach. At this point in my college, my football, NFL career is like, okay, I can at least have fun still playing college football and then go on to the real world. And I asked my coach if I could play some special teams. I had a little bit of success there. I got asked to play linebacker, and then came back to quarterback after a couple games, and then ended the season on the bench. It was, it wasn't like a storybook senior year. So that cemented my assumption that okay, well, NFL is in my future. But a CFL team called me and asked me to try out. So I'm like, okay, I might as well keep training. And if I was going to keep training at quarterback, I might as well try to train for the pro scouts, the NFL scouts for pro day. So I did, pro day, I did quarterback, tight end, linebacker, and long snapper, just to do as much as I could in front of these scouts. And I ended up getting invited for a tryout with Minnesota, which in itself for me was, like a dream come true. And then I ended up making the team that weekend through rookie minicamp. And that rookie year, I ended up breaking my ankle, which ultimately led me here in Cleveland.
So what I'm hearing is you should just avoid walking at all costs because you never know.
Play football long enough, you have season-ending injuries for sure.
Yeah, but hey, it worked out. You caught your first touchdown a couple of years ago, which props to you. That was a badass play.
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
A couple weeks ago, yeah. Did I say days? I'm tired, man.
Time during the Kickstarter always just kind of dilates.
It just runs into a single line. Which for anyone, I mean, I was thinking the other day, just in general, how many people in the world have caught a touchdown in the NFL, in history? It's a small number. And so even though, especially when you play fantasy football, a lot of us do, thinking about touchdowns, you do. So you pulled it off, and congrats and good for you.
Thank you.
Myles should have a touchdown because he had an amazing pick six. And I don't know if I should even bring that up. I feel actually bad mentioning that, but I just want to give you props for that play because that sticks out to me because that was a hell of a play. How do you, and this is totally pivoting and throwing something at you, how do you, as a player, when you have done something really fantastic in a game and you get it called back, how do you handle that moment? Both as a teammate, as if it's a teammate that committed the penalty, and then just getting your head ready for the next play. How does that impact you in the middle of a game?
Man, it's tough. Whether it's a pick six or just any positive play, like a sack. The sacks are hard to come by. On offense, I mean, they scheme all week for certain people. I happen to be one of them, fortunately or unfortunately. But they're trying to limit the amount of opportunities I have to make an effect on the game. And then I'm able to do that, make a big play, force fumble, sack, whatever it is, TFL. And then you see your teammates look at the ref, offsides, number yada yada, 5-yard penalty. It's guy, we got 65 snaps. I had a positive one. We're moving in the right direction, and you want to line up offsides. That's what happened with the pick six. Come on.
Yeah.
So I mean, of course I'm gonna get on my guy, whoever it is, D-line, linebacker. But I mean, you just kind of go back to the drum board and say, hey, we gotta go get another one. I still think I'm gonna go get another pick. Gonna make it a pick six, and it'll all be good. Until then, it's not good.
But once it happens, yeah. I want to go back to my my first question. When did you know? Because I'm from Houston. I think you're from Arlington, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're a Texas guy. Texas is a football state. It's like the opposite of what Travis was describing. Like, we churn out football players like nobody's business. So you're coming from a place known for huge talent. When did you know? You know what? I could do this at the next level.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play football till my freshman year of high school. I didn't really care. I was playing basketball. I didn't want to be a basketball player. And my coach told me that if I wanted to play basketball, I could play football. So I guess I'll do this for a little while. I'll do it for the season and go play basketball. But, I mean, I'm a competitive nut. So, man, once I start something, I want to be the best at it. And I kind of like the camaraderie of, the guys on the team, that my 11 versus your 11, who can get it done. And all the different roles in basketball. I mean, there's one ball, there's two hoops. And I can change the game at any given time as soon as I have the ball in my hand, or even if I don't. If I don't hit the guy with the ball, like I'm not doing anything on the field. But now in basketball, it's a lot different, I guess, in like all other sports. So it provided like an interesting challenge to me. I just wanted to like conquer that challenge. I'm still trying to conquer that challenge. And it was always a matter of like being the best, winning with my team, because I love the guys in the locker room with me, and being able to take care of my family. That was the biggest thing for me. Well, if I could do all three of those things, then I was going to continue doing it. Right.
Hell yeah. Somebody just dropped in chat. Teams are allowed to hold Myles so the games can stay interesting. That was actually going to be one of my questions. Was, what does it feel like to get held on every play?
Travis, this is a question for you.
There's no such thing as holding. I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't the ref's bias. It's unfortunate. The offensive linemen are just trying to go out there and get in the way of somebody trying to kill somebody else. And we're the good guys here. I don't know. I don't understand. And the refs are always getting in the way, trying to think that we're holding them. I don't understand.
You have to bring morality into all this.
You just made a self-defense argument.
You got a quarterbacks in your front yard.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No. The holding is it's unique, and what I would like to draw some attention to is defensive holding and how much that can impact the game. These defensive tackles will come in here and they'll grab you so that you can't get off to the second level. So you can't get up to the linebacker on a block, or, man, they run these games where one of them will grab you and the other one will come and hit you. And they just hold right on to you. But nobody calls the defensive holding because, it's really hard to see. They moved the refs recently, so you couldn't see it. I think we should just eliminate it on both sides, and then, we'll go.
Oh, no, I didn't say all that. I think
it makes it fair.
I might be on the side here.
Holding calls can be good for the game. I didn't say we shouldn't call defensive holding. I'm just saying it happens a lot less than offensive holding. It's that simple. Y'all have 70, 30, and how many times have you seen a tackle or a guard just hold their man to the side of you, and you're just like, man, hey, just don't get the call.
That's right. Yeah, honestly, I feel good about going on the books and saying I held on every single play in my entire life. I'm okay with that. It's about learning how to hold and making sure that you're doing it in a proper way. Your hands are tight. You're bringing the defender to you, not extended out. As long as the defender doesn't, purposefully flop over and fall to the ground. That's when you get in trouble, is when they fall to the ground, because they would never believe that you'd be able to knock someone else down. They blame it on holding. There's a lot of holding.
I need to start flopping what you're saying, because the holding
can work.
It's not being called. So I just need to start to fall to the ground.
It's tough. I know the hold around the neck is very specific, especially when you come off the rip. That's always my argument to it, is they had to put a rule in place with Howie Long. I actually know this history, that he had this nasty rip around the edge. And every single time when he would rip that arm up, it would go around his neck and he'd get a holding penalty. So this was happening over and over and over. And so they had to put this rule in place that if your arm is moved there because of the pass rush move, then it's not holding. So you just got to make sure you're going with downward moves, and then when they hold you, because of course they're holding you, they're grabbing you on the outside. There's no time. I know this. That's when they can call it on you, and they don't have any defense to it.
That's when you just have to do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Myles.
A saddle on my back, and he's like, right off the edge to the quarterback.
There's a lot of positions. Those poor umpires are back there trying to watch, and there's 5 offensive linemen, sometimes a fullback. So, there's not enough not enough officials in the game, perhaps.
Yes, Travis. The solution to football is to add more refs.
more officials so we can get some more calls. I'm not. He'll say the other one's supposed to see it. They'll point at each other like the Spider-Man meme, and then nobody saw it.
As a large person, I often appreciate a good flag because it slows the game down. You're going 100 miles an hour, need an extra minute to breathe. The refs are getting together, they're talking about something. I can catch my breath. The small guys behind us are always trying to go fast, but us large people, we don't get to sub in and out of the game. We're playing the whole time, and we're struggling.
Yeah. Travis, has anybody ever accused Wisconsin of having a fast-paced offense?
No, not Wisconsin. No, I don't think that's something that people get confused.
Man, well, we're at kind of the roughly halfway point of the stream, so we're going to keep talking football and a little more, and we're going to get into anime at some point, and then I think we're even going to try and take some questions from chat at the end. So I know Chris is in the background grabbing some of those questions. We'll do a little Q&A at the end, but I want to take a quick moment to again shout out this awesome Kickstarter that we're doing. If you play tabletop games, if you don't, you should. As you can see, anybody can play these games. They're awesome. It's easier than ever. Like, it's so freaking easy to go and play a tabletop game online or somewhere else and just have a great time bashing orcs in the head with a sword or having deep-hearted, emotional conversations. You can do it all. It runs the gamut. But usually you need dice. Dice are a key to the game, and they're like one of the lasting things that the through line from the 80s on in today. And these days people are making crazy awesome dice. I think Johnny, you said y'all are getting some sweet dice for your game here pretty soon from our friends over at Norse Foundry, I think. But y'all, we just have some sick looking dice. So we at Dwarven Forge said, cool, we're going to make a badass place for you to put your dice. So we made this little thing that we like to call Reliquaries. The link is in chat. It's on Kickstarter right now. I think we're going to throw it up. Yeah, there it is on stream. We're going to show it off a little bit. Reliquaries are these like gorgeous, like blow your mind thrones and pedestals for you to display your dice on. Chris, I lost a camera, but I assume you know that. There you go. And oh shit, that's right. Oh, I keep cussing. You can put LEDs in them. They have LEDs in these hero ones that make them glow. They'll illuminate your dice from below. They're amazing looking. If you would support us on Kickstarter, we would love that. You can go to bit.ly/reliquaries. If you don't know how to spell it, Google it. If you don't know how to spell it, I'm sorry I picked the name. That's on me. But check it out. It's one of the many awesome things we do. We've got another week left on the Kickstarter. And right now we are going to give away a $50 Kickstarter credit in chat if you throw out the keyword. I'm going to need someone. Travis, I'll put this on you. Give me a keyword for someone to throw in chat to do the giveaway, and we'll set it up, and we'll go from there.
You can put that on me. Appletini.
Appletini. All right.
Are you looking at your desk right now? Do you just have a flight of Appletinis?
I mean, it just came. It came to mind. I don't have it.
All right, everybody.
Walmart?
Okay, everybody. If you would like to enter this giveaway, type Appletini. That's APPLETINI. In chat. It's not case sensitive. You can type it more than once, and it won't disqualify you or anything. However, please don't. You only need to type it once. Please don't keep spamming it over and over, just so we can have some semblance of a chat in a minute or two. And it'll be for a $50 pledge manager credit, which basically be $50 you can put towards any of this stuff. We also have, this is 5 out of the 16 different sculpts we have in this Kickstarter. So you can put it towards that. And yeah, it's eligible to anybody no matter where you live. Available for international. And I think that's all the information you need. We'll roll it in a couple minutes.
Yeah, well, we'll pick them in a few minutes. Tyler, I know you're making a beautiful array here, but while you are dropping your things in chat, man, look at that Phoenix.
The Phoenix is so cool.
Damn. But I want you, Tyler, if you don't mind, and Chris maybe could grab a close up. Could you turn that Eldritch one around?
Oh yeah,
if you're into like Cthulhu,
yeah, I can give off individual shots too. Like, if you'd rather, like I just.
Ooh.
And I promise, if you just joined us, we're going to keep talking about football because I love D&D, but I also love football, so we're going to talk more about that while I have these awesome people here. But if you love like horror games, look at that. You got these angel wings with these freaking tentacles going up the spine, like their eyes embedded in the wings. So if you love horror stuff, this is the one that my dice are going to be on. They're super
I know it's
sick.
a little out of focus. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it in the light there.
Someone in chat said it's like D&D QVC. It is, and for the low price of $29.99, 4 easy payments.
Not $29.99.
4 easy payments of $29.99.
I can get a little turntable out if you want to do that.
No, we're fine.
No, that'd be a bridge too far. But we're honestly, y'all, we're really proud of this. Everyone at this company is artists, and you can see the cool terrain in the background and the stuff we make, and we're very proud of this. And the fact that we get to make this stuff means we also get to somehow convince cool football players to come talk with us about stuff they love, and so it's a good excuse for all of us to engage with all of our nerdy habits. But we'll leave this up for just another minute while we do the giveaway again. If you just joined us, Appletini in chat, courtesy of Travis Frederick, to win a $50 credit to our Kickstarter. And I think I'm gonna jump right back in when we get back to it, and I'm gonna make Myles pick my anime fandom, which I think you said you already have picked out. You've thought of some stuff already.
Yeah, and you should let me pick the word. I had some already in store. I was gonna make a word for it.
I thought about it, but then I was like, I didn't.
That Myles was picking the word. I was completely unprepared.
All
I
right,
could have picked something way more relevant.
to enter the
Think
giveaway,
about all the
put in
prep that
word.
you do during the week before game day. Think about all that prep. Now throw all that out the window. That's what I do before interviews. So
enter the giveaway
what
by
you're
typing in the
getting
word
is
dot
whatever
com.
happens.
Let's see. 2
Y'all are
giveaways.
blowing chat up. Thank you.
Let's see.
The
Keep
dwarf
showing
and
up.
dwarf.
Get a job
dwarf.
at-
All right. I think we should
Like,
go ahead.
how do I get a job as the hand model that turns the?
Oh, it's a Squid Games esque process to pick the one person.
I was gonna say you would like to become our hand model. I see.
Oh, there's so much more hair.
Good looking
yours.
hands.
Yeah, just not from the top. Just, they're very delicate. That's all.
Oh yes. Sorry.
Travis,
learn about
did they model
angles.
you for that dwarven reliquary?
Say it again.
What's that?
Travis, did they model you for that dwarven reliquary?
Those luscious locks?
I never got a check for that, so I hope not.
Right. We don't worry. We have it
It's
in the
lost
mail.
in the mail. Yes.
Yeah, talk to your lawyer about that.
That is pretty awesome.
It is a really well conditioned beard.
Is that a shot at? Is that a shot at me being the shortest offensive lineman?
Take it as you will, man.
Giant, great beard.
Oh, okay. All right.
Have you ever like in your game one, have you played a dwarf, and two, if when you did play a dwarf in this imaginary life, did you braid your beard? Because if not, shame on you. Shame.
I don't think I have. I played a gnome for sure. That was one of my.
I've played with
favorites.
you as a gnome, yeah.
Nice.
Yes, forgot about that. From Winddinkleton. But no, I never played as a dwarf. I think maybe that's my next build. You've convinced me, and then I'll have to braid my beard, and I'll actually have to do it for the game as well.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I will say, I think that was the first time we played a game together, and you popped on, and you were obviously, bearded and in a former offensive lineman, and you busted out this gnome voice, and I was just like, okay, we're playing. Just like when Johnny was showing up and being like the DM, I was like, Travis is showing up. He's willing to play. All right, we're gonna be our characters today. Travis is a gnome.
Gnome boys.
All right, let's
No,
roll this
boy.
You wanna hear
giveaway and get back into the.
Okay. Giveaway. Sorry.
Yeah.
We can't
Oh,
do the gnome
giveaways?
voice. It's time for the giveaway. Sorry.
Oh yeah. People
Do you want to announce
did you pick a
the?
winner?
Do you want to congratulate them in your gnome voice after I tell you who the winner is?
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Then
absolutely.
we get the best of both worlds there.
What are you gonna do?
But
Sam?
how am I going to find out who the winner is?
I'll-
I'm just
I'll
gonna
tell you the name.
Congratulate them after you tell them.
Drop
Yeah.
it in Zoom chat, and then
Drop it in Zoom. It would mess up the overlay for me to open the chat.
oh,
is
never
the
mind.
problem.
Don't drop it
Yeah.
in Zoom
I'll
chat.
just say.
Don't
I'll
do
just say
that.
it.
Fine.
All right, let's roll it. Gilson. Gilson.
Gilson! I'm so happy that you were able to win this Appletinis. You should have multiple Appletinis so you can celebrate. $50! $50 in credit you won. That's so fantastic. I'm so happy for you. so happy.
$50 will buy you so many Appletinis at Applebee's. So
Did you
head on
ever,
down.
Travis? I have to ask real quick. Did you ever do that at the line of scrimmage to get in people's heads?
I didn't talk at all at the line of scrimmage, other than like doing my job. I talked a lot at the line of scrimmage. I didn't talk smack. Everybody has a role, and my guards were always in charge of handling that for me. The tackles were usually pretty quiet. I had a right guard once that used to say things that I can't ever repeat. I won't repeat that. It's just I've never heard words like that come out of people's mouths. But he was nasty, and he used to get after it. So, whatever works for everybody. For me, it wasn't. I often would like listen to a nose tackle, talking trash to me, and like make a joke out of it, and try and turn it back on them. Like, is that really you're really going to do that? Is that really going to happen here? And so that made them then think about it. They weren't thinking about their assignment. They were let off the ball to win.
Speaking of nose, did you ever go against Vince Wilfork?
I never did. I think Vince retired like a year before I came in the league.
Really? No, he retired in like 2017.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, 'cause
playing
he was
in
on the
Houston, but
Texans.
I don't think so.
The mighty,
Well, maybe.
mighty 9-6
Was
Houston
he a
Texans.
backup for a while in Houston?
In Houston, no, he
there was
came and
another
got
large
the
man.
starting job.
Now I'm in trouble.
Competition for position on the Houston Texans. Oh, Travis.
I didn't say. You're talking trash about the Texans, not me.
I am.
Let's be on the record here.
Just to be clear, I have opinions about ownership that we will not air here because this is a happy family stream, and so we're going to talk about happy family things. Myles, are you a trash talker?
Me? I'll talk a little bit if you talk to me. But usually, I try to just make jokes during the game. I'm trying to make it like fun, family friendly. And then if you escalate it, then I'm probably gonna match you.
Hey, you can't back down. You certainly can't back down.
Exactly. Sometimes I kill people like the Tim Duncan. I just don't say anything. Yeah, I'll nod at them. I'll get a sack and I'll just nod at them. And it's like it burns them up more than me talking smack.
Love it. Tim Duncan, noted D&D player, cannot get a hold of him. Tried to get it legitimately. Tried to get him on the stream. Very hard person to get a hold of. He works very hard on filing his taxes, and so that takes up most of his time. Johnny, I'm assuming you don't get to talk much. I mean, who would you talk to? Like the running back, like, or you'd have to shout really loud.
Yeah, I'm a little bit too far away from the line of scrimmage. About 5 yards is forget it's 3 squares on the D&D map. So it's you kind of gotta raise your voice. And usually the quarterback's trying to say something in the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, you gotta yell it. I'm coming for you, 56.
But then after the pancake, like after you've knocked somebody down,
Yeah, you just got to smile on their face.
yeah,
That's
you
right.
can't talk like that anymore.
It's pre-play like smack talk. Hey, I'm coming.
Yeah.
I
I
need
missed
to.
out on that, having to be in the backfield.
So
In
you should
college-
switch to defensive end.
Yeah, in college, I would be in the quarterback. I'm always trying to figure out what's the next play. I'm looking to the sideline, trying to get the next signal. And there were definitely some times where the other team would try to be talking smack to me then, and I'm just like so focused, and I'm like, I cannot get any distractions right now. I need to figure out what this play is because I'm gonna have to say it twice in the huddle, and I cannot mess it up.
So true.
That's a good point, actually. And Johnny, like you as quarterback, can speak to this. But I often tell people, like, there's that stigma out there, I think, of people who refer to any sports as sport ball, that like football players are dumb, or it's just a big dumb sport where people run into each other. And like, I am of the opinion, having never played it, that football is like one of the most cerebral sports. And yeah, you might have a guy who's not like book smart, but to like understand plays and coverages and react and like change things quickly. Like, again, like me growing up playing basketball, it's a very reactive sport. Like Myles said, any one player can change the game. It just moves very quickly. But like football is like chess. And, Travis, you and I have talked previously about being the center and kind of being responsible for spotting coverages and relaying that, and, kind of like being the anchor for the line. But I'm curious, actually, Myles, as a defensive end, like what is that like for you? Like, are you thinking about, okay, this is a guy I'm going against and he likes to move to his left, or he likes to make these moves, or I saw this on film, like mentally, what's the game prep like for you to match up with people?
Well, I completely agree with your statement. football is a big dumb game played by smart men though. There's a lot of smart men and coached by even smarter men. So even though the game is dumb, the people who are interacting and playing with it make it a lot more cerebral than what it really is. And for me, I'm looking at a lot of things. So, like pre-play, I'm thinking about quarterback depth during first and second down and where he'll be. I'm looking at the lineman's eyes if he's giving a tell with whether he's going to base block me or if he's going to block down. He'll probably switch up his stance and drop his leg back a little bit further if it's a pass play. Think about, is he a rapper? Is he a puncher? Is he going to wait to shoot his hands, or is he going to try to get his hands on me immediately? Are you going to try to outset me? But like this all happens in like 10 seconds usually. So I'm kind of breaking it down. And then I got to see what the running back is, see if he's going to chip me or if he's going to release, stuff like that. So usually I just assume if the running back on my side and he's going to release, he's probably going to chip. So it also alters my rush to think, dang, how am I going to get inside of the chip, still get inside, or am I going to try and go right through the tackle? A lot of stuff, but you repped it so many times, you've been in that situation so many times, just like, I've been here before, I can find a way.
Have you ever had a moment on the field, this can be for any of y'all, where you felt like you knew what was going to happen on a play and then something just like completely surprising, totally unexpected, like you were certain that they were going to do whatever and then it was a freaking jet sweep or whatever, like just something where you felt like you knew what was going to happen and then the offense or the defense, depending on which side you're on, just threw a curveball at you?
No, I did. It was like everyone always asks what your welcome to the NFL moment is. My welcome to the NFL moment was this one where I had been studying. It was my rookie year. I was playing in Chicago. It was cold. It was late December. The field was like hard. It was just nasty out there. And we're back towards our goal line, maybe like the 10-yard line. And I knew at some point during the game that Julius Peppers was going to run this game where the defensive tackle goes straight up the field and pulls the guard out wide, and then the defensive end loops around and gets one-on-one with the center when the center is sliding that way. So they had clearly set up their defensive front so that the slide would happen that way, and the game came. Now, I had been watching film all week. I was really nervous about this because I've seen a lot of centers get beat on, and it turned out that Julius Peppers' deal was he always gave a 3 shakes and 3 steps and then would cross the center's face because the center would always lunge out. And so I said, okay, it's going to come. And it did. It happened. So he comes up and he goes, shake, shake, shake. So I set him inside under, knowing that he was going to go across my face and I'd be able to take him. And instead, he saw that I did that and he went straight through my chest. I went back over another offensive lineman and he tackled me and the quarterback all in one play. It was a nasty sack. I was embarrassed. My pride was hurt way more than my body. And then it was there. Then 4th down, punting out of the end zone. Everybody, it feels like the whole world's looking at you, laughing at you after something like that happens. But yes, absolutely, it happens. If you find yourself studying too much or relying on your keys too much, that's where you end up. You end up on your back in an embarrassing moment.
God forbid that there's video of that out there somewhere for people to go find. Do you
There
think about
isn't.
that?
It doesn't exist.
Oh God, that's on YouTube. It
doesn't exist. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Don't go find it.
Anybody else? Any other big surprises, or mostly the game kind of goes as it goes?
I don't know if I've played enough to really have that sure thing experience yet.
Were you expecting to catch a but well, actually, I want to talk about your touchdown just very quick. Because again, I don't know how play calls work because I only play Madden. But like, did you know that play was called for you? Were you one of the reads? Like, how did that unfold for you?
Yeah, I mean, anybody who watched John Gruden's quarterback show knows what Spider 2 Y Banana is, and that was the play.
Yeah.
And we ran it earlier in the game, and the safety covered me up really fast. So there's only a certain amount of plays that a fullback plans on being in the game. If we get 10 plays on offense, that's like a pretty big game for the fullback, or at least right now. And so I knew that one of our goal line packages had Spider 2 and 3 in it, And when it came, I thought, okay, well, we ran it already, so the safety's probably going to pick me up here. But I mean, the goal line's a completely different game, and everybody was so focused on the run that when the play action came, I was alone in the flat, and I've been telling everybody it's just a blur since from that point on.
Again, congrats to you. It was
Thanks.
awesome for you, and obviously for the Browns. It was a great game for y'all to win. And as a dude from Texas, anytime I get to see Case throw a touchdown, as a Houston guy, that's big too. So it's fun all around. I want to get to the thing everyone is here for, the thing I'm here for, the thing that people care about. I'm told people care about this. People seem to care about it a lot. But there's a thing in the world, I'm told, called anime, which I as a nerd have just completely ignored my entire life for whatever reason. But the internet and Myles himself have told me that anime is a thing that I shouldn't snub, I shouldn't ignore it. And so I'm wondering, like, you as an anime fan, Myles, like, one, what got you into it, and two, like, what as a genre, if you will, like, what about it is so captivating for you and clearly many people.
What got me into it was staying up too late as a kid, Adult Swim coming on, and anime having to come up. I mean, Dragon Ball Z also came on Toonami. Like as soon as I got home from school, Dragon Ball Z was on, and you stay up. There was like Inuyasha, there was Cowboy Bebop, Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, there were a lot of big ones back then, and so it kind of just like kept on going. It wasn't like a different type of show to me, which is all just whether it was action oriented or comedy, they were all just shows to me. There wasn't a distinction. I didn't even know it was called anime back then. I just thought it was like some kind of cartoon. I was like,
Sure.
I'll watch it.
And so, now you've been watching for a long time. I know I've told you, like, I've tried. I shouldn't say I've tried. I really haven't tried.
Right, exactly.
I haven't really tried. I don't want to give myself credit for something I haven't done. People have suggested anime to me, but what I was saying to you before we started was that, like, no one, people have just thrown names at me. And then, like, you go and Google a name of a show and you find out there's 17 versions of a show. And there are people that are like, well, there are 40 seasons and you have to watch them in this dub, or they can't. I don't know. It's very confusing. I'm a simple man. So what should I watch?
If I were to tell you to watch, like, I think I get this before, Game of Thrones. I'm like, yeah, it's a good show. Like, it's kind of medieval, basically Dungeons and Dragons. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings, and I think you should watch it. You go like, yeah, it sounds good. You look it up, and you're like, oh, I mean, I can watch it in sub or dub, or I can do this or that. You'd be like, well, that seems like it's worth the effort. And then I say anime, and it's like, what is it? It's like, well, it's animated. Like, it's animated shows with voice actors, and it's in Japanese. And you can either watch it with subtitles or dub, and you're just like, that seems like too much effort. I mean, it's all the same. Yeah, unless
It's fair. It's a fair point.
the full experience, you can listen to it in Japanese and read the subtitles. I've heard from a couple people that it's too much work to read subtitles, but those people are slow readers and I can't be around them. But if you're on a higher plane of like understanding, then I believe that you can watch Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter, or let's see, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Full Metal Alchemist. Andrew will fuck around. I committed. I promised that, like, what he told me to watch, I would actually watch. And I have to like it because, like, you can't go out and be like, Myles Garrett suggested a show. I thought it was okay. Like, that just doesn't work. It's okay. Hunter x Hunter. Okay.
I meant just okay show, right in the top tier.
Yeah. All right,
Myles, are you a subs or dubs guy?
That was gonna be my next question.
So I'm not gonna say you have to watch a sub, but you're not really like watching the show unless you're watching stuff. And most people anyway, if like you're watching a show in English, you're kind of like you're watching it and you're listening to it and you're on your phone and then you're back to it. Like if you watch like anime, you have to watch it because you have to read subtitles. Otherwise, you miss that scene. So you're fully like tuned in into what's going on and all the emotion of the characters, and that just improves the show and what it needs to.
Yeah, I was talking with my wife about that the other day, having watched Squid Game, like the exact same. You forget that, like, most days now when you like watch a show, like you watch the show and you got your phone out or you're talking with someone and you're listening, but you're not invested. And when you have to read subtitles, like you're there, you're catching the nuance of the visuals, you're seeing the looks on people's faces. And sometimes you get so sucked in, or at least I do, where I forget that I can't actually speak Korean or whatever's happening because you're getting so much of the story through people's eyes. And then I like look away and I'm like, oh wait, crap, I have no idea what happened because I'm not bilingual. But you're right. I think that's an appealing aspect. I think maybe that perhaps I'll get into because I'm a big sucker for like good cinematography and storytelling visually. So like having that, like you have to stay dialed in. That'll probably be good for me as a viewer.
What kind of show do you like? Like, you look funny.
I mean, I'm the boring answer is I like a bit of everything, but I like really good deep character drama. Like I like, I don't care if there's not fighting or action like throughout. I love suspense and wait. Midnight Mass, I'm not all the way through it yet, but it's a show I love. Just things that really hinge on great character investment. I like, you know what I did? I watched Castlevania on Netflix. I watched season 1. I really enjoyed Castlevania.
That's very really good. You should finish that. But
Yeah.
if you like really like deep character development and no suspense, then you should also put Death Note on that list as well.
Death Note. That's a solid name. Good branding.
Death Note's one of those that had a horrible like live action version, wasn't it?
Horrible. Hey, you didn't. Now you're gonna throw them off.
I'm gonna be like, well, I watched the live action one and he said it was really good.
I would never. I wasn't even gonna acknowledge its existence until Johnny.
Way to go, Johnny.
My bad.
All right, cool. So I have it. I have my hit list. You gave me 3, so I'm gonna give it a go, and I'm excited. You're opening a whole new world to me, so I'm excited to check it out.
I'm allowed to use my jazz.
I can't remember any of Jasmine's parts. I was gonna sing the song, but I'm such a misogynist. I only know Aladdin's lines. It's very unfortunate. I was gonna throw one more thing at you before we move on because we want to take some questions before we let everybody go. You are obviously you're a superstar in the league, right? Like people know you, football fans know you. But the D&D and the tabletop world is a whole different weird thing. And like, are you prepared now that the world kind of generally knows that like you play D&D? Are you prepared for like the whole different fandom world that suddenly is gonna be in your corner? Have you even experienced this yet? Of people being excited about you playing Dungeons and Dragons?
Oh, sometimes I don't want to get too deep, but I kind of just think about existence. Like when I'm sitting down, people watch often. I like take pictures, and I just kind of sit back and think like, sports and fans are like such a small demographic of the world at large. There's so many people like walking around the world that I pass every single day who could care less that I play football. Or they're football players in general. Or they're sport. And so like they have so many interests and passions and hobbies that we all like share or have in common, and that we have no idea just because either they see me as something or they stereotype me, generalize something, and like we'll never share that connection. But once you break down, again, I keep on bringing back like boundaries and breaking down those boundaries. But once you acknowledge that you have these things in common, then you really start to connect with people and create relationships that you never thought you'd have. And I think that's just another thing that's happening with all of us. And I mean, there's a lot of different passions that we have, and until we speak it forth into the world, no one will ever know. We can never have those friendships and relationships. So now that this is happening, I guess there will be more people that want to come around and play D&D, and I can have different friendships that I never would have experienced.
That was the best answer to a dumb question that I've ever received. So thank you, because it's so true. Like there's so much power in living an authentic life, like being true to yourself. And for whatever reasons, like today more than maybe any other time in history, like we're able to do that, whether you're a dude who sits at home and plays D&D or you're an athlete in a professional league. Like it for so long was so easy to be pigeonholed by the thing you did or job or your one interest, and that defined you and limited your relationships and the potential like that you had to connect and interact with other people. Oh
Oh.
man, I didn't know we were gonna dog cam. Um, and that's awesome, and it's awesome that we have the opportunities to break some of those like artificial barriers that we've put up, and connect with people that we might not have previously in any sort of way.
100% agree. I couldn't have said it better.
And Travis, have you, as you've transitioned from, football into, the tabletop world full time, like what has your experience of that been like as you shift from, again, like game day mentality and like prep, like with your teammates, to literally running a company and that's built around playing games?
I get a lot of funny looks in meetings. I think that's probably my big one is, just like there are barriers there where people don't expect things, or they make assumptions about you. As the CTO of a company, and I'll be sitting in a meeting with a potential partner or something, and go through my background, and all of a sudden like their minds are blown that I could have played football for 7 years and been doing that, and now I'm doing what I do. And to me, it was always just part of what I wanted to do. I always want to be back in technology. I didn't know it would be in a gaming company like this, but I just got really fortunate to find good people and find an awesome space where now, my career has always been about playing games, and now it's just a different type of game, and it still requires a lot of hard work. It's just a different kind of hard work. Instead of getting up at 4:30 to go to a gym and get your workout in before practice and meetings and everything like that. Instead now I'm getting up to make sure that I can get my stuff in before my meetings start for the day, for a whole different thing. So it's just a lot different. And so that's been fun. But a lot of the things that I learned when I was playing football carry over into the business world. And I continue to tell my coworkers and employees, I don't have any idea what it's like to work in an office. People always asking about, what the remote workspace is like and how different that is from working in an office. And I have no idea. And so I have to continually lean on other people to say, what's different? Like, is this working for you? And we have certain expectations when you're playing in the NFL. Like, people just expect certain things of you. They expect you to do your job, and you can expect that from them, and you can expect them to try and do it at a certain level. And if not, the powers that be above will take care of that problem for you. That person will get cut and they won't be around anymore. But that's not exactly how it works in the workplace. You're dealing with things. You have to deal with your relationships different, and you have to deal with the work quality differently, because it's a different place. And so it's really interesting to make that transition, and it's been really, really fun to learn.
Oh yeah, man. And and we'll as we wrap up, we'll make sure everybody knows where they can go check Demiplane out. But y'all need to go to demiplane.com. Again, if you have not played a game and you're looking for a great place to play a game, you can find it there. If you want to get into Pathfinder, which is a game I've always wanted to play, they just announced a cool new tool set for that. And we'll let Travis talk about that a little bit at the end. But I do want to have time real quick for some questions. Y'all have been dropping some really great ones in chat, so I'm just going to throw them out as we go, and we'll try and get through a bunch of them before we let everybody go. So the first and most important question, everyone wants to know, Myles, what is the dog's name?
The dog that I'm just holding?
Yeah.
Milo. I have two right now, maybe pretty soon, we'll see. But my other dog that people might know because I have a page for him is Gohan. It's a black German Shepherd, but Milo is a terrier mix. So
Nice.
he's a cute one that gets in my lap. Gohan's like 80 pounds. He can rest on the floor next to me.
That's awesome. Now, for Johnny, a question for you from Critchy23. It's a two-part question, so prepare yourself. Part one, what advice would you give to a first-time DM? And I'll save part two for after you answer part one.
Honestly, I feel like
Look for people in Stranger Things t-shirts.
Yeah. No, the best way to start DMing is to make sure that you know more about the game than the other players do, because that's honestly one of the most important parts of the game. You don't even have to be that knowledgeable about the game, but if you're playing with somebody who might know more than you, they have to be a very cool person to make sure that they go along with what you want to do, which is harder for some people than others. But honestly, I think it's not even about confidence. It's not about world building. It's not about the voices. It's all about making sure that everybody's having fun, but also making sure that you're having fun at the same time. Because I think a lot of people forget that the dungeon master is one of the players. And if the party is doing, not if they're going off on, off your story and having their own fun and doing that kind of thing, as long as you're having fun, not having your fun taken away from you, having your joy, like, stolen from you, playing something that should be extremely fun. I don't think that there's a necessarily wrong way to do it if everybody at the table is having a fun time.
And maybe even the secret isn't to know more than everybody. It's just to confidently seem like you know more than everyone. So whatever you say, they're like, oh, it's okay. Well, we got to go with what he said.
I've gotten away with doing that for a long time. Myles doesn't know that though.
Miles is gonna read the Dungeon Master Guide one day. He's gonna be like, "What the hell?"
I'm more just worried about like just not pissing him off because he might create something new, and then all of a sudden, like we're in deep shit.
There you go.
Yeah.
The second part of that question, Johnny, was which do you prefer, run blocking or pass blocking?
It's an easy answer. And I think the O-linemen have the same answer too. It's run blocking. Easy. I'm a fullback and I'm in there for a reason.
I mean, it's pretty wild. They expect you to run backwards and then block another 300-pound human that's running full speed. It's disadvantage. I don't understand. Run blocking is way better. I agree, John.
Roll a disadvantage. Get over it.
Exactly. It's true. Just do that 60 times in a row and don't give up one sack.
No sacks. You can get one. You get one mulligan. Two, you got a bad game. Go.
Yeah.
Maybe. From Myles, this one was from Napalm. I'm so excited I get to read people's screen names. This puts me in such an awkward position. From Napalm Sweet Cakes. Wait, what was Myles' first instinct to play as a character? They're totally interested because you dropped your first character to play the Alucard one. So what was like when you made your first character, what was your thinking going into your first D&D character?
I kind of wanted to be like my Skyrim character, like where he was stealth and he can kind of like have some range to him. And I didn't want to compromise with the stealth. So
if I remember correctly, you played a half-elf rogue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you went into assassin subclass.
I did. I wanted to be very stealthy, allow myself to steal from people if I needed to. But I was like, okay, a little bit more honorable than this. And no, this is not who I want to role play as. This is different. Like I like the character when I'm playing as in a video game, but like this is not who I I can't be this. Like I'm a good heart, I think. So when I start doing it, I was like, I gotta do something.
Myles is definitely the voice of reason in our last session.
Someone's got to do it, man.
Sorry,
what was that?
John, it's not John.
Having that fun Zoom call moment where we all talk at the same time and then stare at each other. I'm so ready to not be working from home, guys. Anyway, back to the questions. We have a kind of a two-part one here from Glass Guitar. First, I just want to say, Myles and Johnny, I'm a Browns fan in New Mexico, and I want you to know how much it means to me as a fan to see the stances you guys are taking on the important things in life. The fact that you're also D&D players is a heck of a bonus. Thank you. And their question that they had for Johnny, they just want to say thanks for standing up for trans rights the other day on Twitter. Do you feel like D&D helps people develop empathy and caring?
I think there's a certain amount of empathy that you have to either have or develop in the first place to be able to play a different character, to be able to take on somebody else's kind of viewpoints and motivations, unless you're just playing, your own player stand-in, which is cool as well. I think there is a certain amount of overlap between like the tabletop community and, activists in that, arena, or people who stand up for that kind of thing. So yeah, I think there's, it's a cool correlation that, you came across there, that I hadn't really thought of before, but I can definitely see it.
Yeah. I mean, and I will say, I think that's a cool thing and probably more recent development because there are many people, I think you would say, and there are exceptions to every rule, but early on in the hobby, I think lots of times people were using the games to exclude and to play out power fantasies versus the idea of like, how can we tell a collective story together? And maybe that wasn't the best way to grow up, but I think that people are like realizing that you can both play awesome, badass characters who kill monsters and, fight demons and overcome great odds and are also not awful to the people around them. Like there's room for both. And so I think it's great that we're kind of discovering that and people are getting to play that out. A few more questions here. And Johnny, I swear I'm not the one picking the questions. This one just came up in chat, and producer Chris picked it, but this one comes from Travis Reeves' butt. Who's a friend of ours. And this is for anyone. So anyone who wants to jump in, and then we'll do a couple more after this and wrap up. But if you could have one D&D spell, feat, or ability to legit use on the football field once per game. So once per game, you can use any spell or ability or anything you've done in a D&D game. What would that once per game thing be?
I mean, once you become level 17, you get that 9th level spell, and you only get to do once per day. But time stop is a 9th level spell. I've never gotten to do it in a game, but you get a whole minute to yourself, and you can score a lot of touchdowns with that.
Solid. Travis, you got one?
I mean, sometimes when you're facing that super tough nose guard, like that super terrible matchup, I think banishment might be the go-to. Just take them back to their city. They have to be there unless they make that charisma save.
You gave me a good idea.
Solid.
This is next session.
Myles, have you played a caster? You got one?
I've heard of a move. It's also an anime, but it's called a shadow step. So being able to move like from one dark space to another. So like I could just move into the shadow of the off of the lineman, and I'm there.
Sounds terrifying.
That is such a classic anime move. Teleport behind you. All right, let's grab a couple more questions. Then I'm going to let everybody go because we're going over, and I appreciate your time, but I want you to come back, so I don't want to leave a bad taste in anyone's mouth. Somebody just said, seems like a opposing O-lineman casts hold person on Myles every game. Fair. Someone wanted to know, let's see, from Big Lucky E, don't know if anyone's asked this yet, but what do you guys think of Critical Role? Would you ever do a cameo in a campaign? I know a couple of y'all are familiar. Myles, I don't know if you've ever watched CR, but given the opportunity, would anybody ever jump on Critical Role?
I'm a big fan of Critical Role, and I don't think I could ever do that. Like, I would be so nervous. They play at such a high level of like their group, meaning like they know each other so well that the chemistry is so real. And then when they do have the cameos, like those people are so close to them too. You can tell that they have off-screen chemistry as well. So to go on there and do it at that level of chemistry would be difficult. You'd really have to like get to know the cast. So on the flip side of that, get to know the cast, it's pretty good. That would be fun too. So then at that point, then we can make it work.
Yeah, I don't want to. I wouldn't want to ruin it. I feel like I feel like I'd get in there and ruin it. All the cameos that they have on the show are professional voice actors or professional actors, and I am far from one. I didn't take theater class in high school, so I don't think that that's necessarily in my future. I don't think they would want me, but it's the show is awesome. I'm a huge Critical Role fan.
I personally have never watched Critical Role. I've seen like some scenes from it, but I haven't sat down and really watched it. But I mean, I would one day like to be a voice actor, whether it was anime or like something like Invincible that's on Amazon. Like I want to be a part of something like that. And like Travis said, like they have great chemistry. I've seen that, and especially when you get deep into the D&D and start unraveling the layers, you start to really invest in it and become a part of the lore. And I don't know if I'm ready for that, but I wouldn't mind trying. I've like committed myself since I was a young kid to trying everything at least once and taking another bite of it if I'm not sure. So we'll see what happens. And if I would become a part of something like that, okay, tune in.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Well, right then, before we wrap up, first off, thank you to all three of you for joining us and for hanging out on the stream. Thank you to everyone for watching. It's just been super awesome. The time's flown by getting to chat with y'all just about all the stuff that we're into. So it's been super great. Before we go, I would love if each of you could say where can people find you online. If you have a a charity or a company, Travis, that you would love to share with people, please feel free to like shout that out. Of course, we'll share that from the Dwarven Forge social media. You can follow us, by the way. Oh God, Chris, I just forgot our Twitter handle. How embarrassing is that? Hey, I'm in charge of marketing, guys. We'll figure that out. I'll share the Dwarven Forge one. But Johnny, where can people find you online? What do you have going on?
You can find me at Johnny Stanton IV on Instagram, Twitter, and soon, well, Twitch, but I'll soon be Twitch streaming more. Yeah, I mean, I know that Myles is going to mention his awesome charity. I work with a couple different charities, the Jesse Reese Foundation and Athlete Ally. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I'm up to.
Awesome. Myles, where can people find you? What do you have going on?
You can find me stalking your favorite ball carrier every Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, depending on the week.
Saturday.
Fine. You can catch me at Flash Garrett on Twitter, I believe. Flash_Garrett on Instagram, and working on the Twitch. We'll see what happens. I got D&D and other things to worry about, but we're trying to get that up and running. Got a YouTube that's on the Flash Garrett as well. And waterboys.org if you want to help give water to impoverished countries and children.
Yeah, in just a second, I'll drop a link to, I think that's waterboys.org, right? Yeah, we'll drop a link in chat.
Yeah,
I got it.
I'm about to drop it in.
Man, you're so good at your job.
All over it.
They should give you a raise. Travis, how about you, man? Where can people find you? What are you doing?
Yeah, you can find me personally on Twitter and Instagram at tfrederick72. And you can find my charity at blockinghunger.org. We help inner city and low-income families in and around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex that struggle with hunger. We've been doing that for a few years now. Super proud of the work that we have going on there. And you can also find me at demiplane.com, where we have an online platform and tool set for people that like to play tabletop role-playing games. We have matchmaking, so you can find a group. We have a shared journaling system, as well as task tracking, in-game chat, voice and video, all the things that you need, all in one place. The goal is that you can really focus on the people and focus on the game and not be distracted by too many other things. And we recently announced our newest edition, which is PathfinderNexus.com, where you can find the official digital tool set of Pathfinder 2e.
And as I said, as someone who is very stuck only using digital tools playing D&D, I'm excited now to be enabled to play Pathfinder, because I hear really awesome things about the game, so I'm excited to check that out. So everybody, please go check out all the awesome stuff these people have going on. You can follow us at Dwarven Forge on Twitter. Obviously, we're here on Twitch. We're streaming every day during our Kickstarter. We have some awesome guests coming up. We're going to be doing an interview. Johnny mentioned Corridor Digital early on. Sam Gorski, the creator and founder of Corridor Digital, is going to be with us tomorrow, along with Kyle Newman and Will Campos from Dungeons and Daddies, are going to be on talking about creative storytelling. And then we've got some awesome guests the rest of the week. So check them out. And of course, go and check out our Kickstarter at bit.ly/reliquaries. Support us there if you would like. And I think that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming out and joining us. Thank you to each of you for joining and chatting for a while. It's been truly awesome. I have a list of great shows to watch, and I've appreciated it. So thank you, and we will see all of you next time.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, Dwarven Forge.